Hey everyone, quick tutorial today. Maybe not a quick tutorial, but a tutorial today for these, which I've affectionately called the Bag Lady gloves. And they're made of just 8 granny squares, mini granny squares, great for scraps and love a granny square, as you can see. Great for gifts, very, very easy to do so. Let's get on with it. Okay, so what are we going to need to make these funky little hand warmers? We are going to need a 4mm crochet hook, a 3.5mm crochet hook, some snips to cut your yarn, a darning needle, and of course some scraps of double knit yarn. I'm just using scraps because I've got so much of it. So let's get going. Okay, so these are the little squares we're going to be making. Little dinky granny squares. They're very cute, aren't they? You can make so much with these. I just love granny squares anyway. This is the size of the squares. I'll probably do this colourway. I've got a few that I've made up. I'll do this colourway for the tutorial. So let's go. So for the squares themselves, we are going to need our 4mm hook. The 3.5mm hook is for the ribbing. It's not a tight style ribbing, so I do want to go down half a size, but I like this. I like the way this has come out. So 3.5 for this, 4 for the squares. You could start this with a magic ring. I'm not going to. I'm going to use a chain 4 in this case. The reason being, make a slip knot. I don't want the centres to come undone at all. So this just feels a bit safer to me to make the centre into a chain. There's no way that's going to come adrift or even move, you know. Okay, so we are going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to join the last chain to the first chain. So I'm going to go through there. If I can see, this is not the best light. And pull through, and then pull through again. And then we will have made a tiny little circle. Okay, and we're going to work all of the trebles, and this is UK terms, into the centre circle. So to begin that, we're going to first chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to put yarn over the hook. We're going to go into the centre of our little circle that we just made, and we're going to pull through, and we are going to pull through 2 and pull through 2. So we've now in effect got 2 trebles. I'm going to work over my yarn because I'm lazy and I don't like sewing in ends. I'm just going to work over it as I go round, and then I'll just snip the excess off. So we're going to do that again because we need 3 for each little group. So we're going to go yarn over, through the centre, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. So we've now got our first little cluster of treble stitches. So we've got one of these. We're going to need 4. Okay, so we've got one of these little centerpieces here. Okay, so we now need to chain 2. So 1, 2, and we're going to do the same again. We are going to work 3 trebles. So yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over through the center, catch your yarn, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over through the center, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. So you've now got 2 little clusters, and where we did the chain 2, we've got a little corner. Okay, can you see that? So that's our first corner. We've got to repeat that again, so we want another 2 corners. Okay, we're basically going to just repeat that again. So we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to do a cluster of 3 trebles into the center circle. So yarn over, through the center, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, through the center, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, and one more, yarn over, pull through two. So we've now got 3 little clusters. I'm going to chain 2. Now you might have to at this point just shimmy this around a bit to make room to get into the last little corner there. Okay, so last lot, 3 more. So pull through 2, yarn over, through the center, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay, so we've now got our 4 little clusters. There, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we need to make our last corner. So we've got 1 corner here, 1 here, 1 here, and we need to make 1 in this corner. So we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to find the top of the very first chain 3 that we did. And we're going to go through the top of the chain 3 that we made at the beginning. And we are just going to do a slip stitch. So through there, and then through again, and snip the yarn. Pull through to secure. So there we go. We've got a little tiny center of our mini granny square. Now, because I worked over these ends as I went around, I can just snip that one off. And then what I'm going to do is when we do the next round, I'm going to just work over this tail here. So hopefully I won't have to work in any ends. When I begin, because I've got this here, when I begin my next colour, I'm going to just go to the opposite corner, just so it's less bulky. So I will start over here, work my way around, and as I get to here, I will just work this in and snip it off. Okay, so we'll get the other yarn. And these are just scraps of yarn that I had left over from different projects. Anyone that knows me knows how big my yarn stash is. So I've got lots of these little balls. I'm just going to snip a bit off of this because it's quite long. Get rid of that bit. Side. So this is where we finished off. I'm going to begin this one in this corner. So I'm just going to put my hook through and catch the yarn and pull it through. And I'm just going to chain 1 and pull the tail. Once you pull the tail, you don't really have a chain 1. So I ignore the fact that I've just chained 1. It's just to secure it there. Okay. And I am going to now chain 3 for our first treble of the next round. Now I'm going to work over this tail. So we've done our first treble. We're going to now work 2 more trebles. So yarn over, through the corner, pull up the yarn, through 2, just as we did before. 1 more, through 2, and that's the first cluster. Now in each corner we want 2 little clusters. Just show you here. So this is what we're doing now. We want 2 little clusters, and there's a chain 2 in the corner to make the corner. Okay, so we've done our first cluster. Hold that yarn there so I can work over it, and we will chain 2 and then 3 more trebles into the same corner. So there's 1, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. So that is our first corner of our second round finished. It's as simple as that. Now this time we're going to make the second corner. We're not going to do any chains like we did for the first. We're just going to go straight over to this corner. Okay, so no chains. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to do 3 trebles into this next corner. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Okay, now we need to chain 2 to make the corner like we did here, and 3 more into that corner. Okay, so same thing again. I'm just going to get rid of that end because I've worked over that now. So we'll just snip that off and get rid of that. So same thing, no chains, and we're coming up to here where we finished the last one. So this is our corner. So no chains, we're just going to do the same thing, cluster of 3, 2 chains, cluster of 3. So yarn over and treble. Okay, yarn over, treble, yarn over, treble, and now we need to chain 2 to enable us to get round the corner. So chain 2, and then we want to do 3 more trebles. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's our third corner. So we've only got 1 left to do. So no chains. We're going to work over this little tail. We're going to go straight into this corner and do 3 trebles into this final corner. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, chain 2 to get us around the corner, and the last 3 into the same corner. So yarn over, through the corner, pull up a loop, through 2, through 2, yarn over, through the corner, pull up a loop, through 2, through 2. So we've now got 4 corners, and all that's left to do is to join with a slip stitch to that very first 3 chain that we did. Okay, so you need to find the top of the chain, go through, pull up a loop, and pull it through that last stitch, and then just pull it through, snip it off, tighten it down, and there we go. One little dinky granny square. That was so quick and easy, and no ends apart from that one, but that's easy to sort. So we're going to need 8 of these in total. Okay, and we're going to need to lay them out. Okay, so we've got 4 on the front, 4 on the back, and we're going to lay them out and seam this after. That sounds more complicated than it is, it's not. Okay, so you want to take your squares and you want to lay them out in their opposites. I mean, you don't have to lay them out in their opposites. You might be using completely different colours than I'm using. But, you know, lay them out however you want them. But you want them laid out like this. So that's the front, that's the back. Or that's the front, that's the back. Either way, you want them laid out in 2 rows of 4. Okay, and that is because this is going to become the hand part of the glove. Okay, like this. So we've now got to join these mini squares together, and I will show you how to do that. So to stitch our squares together, we are going to arrange them. As you can see, I've already stitched a few of these in pairs, just these 2 to do, and then we'll stitch along the remainder. Okay, so to do this, it's going to be so simple. Take your darning needle and thread it up with one of the contrasting colours. I don't think it really matters which colour. I've just chosen the purple. But what we're going to do is we're going to put the two squares with the right sides together, and we are going to just stitch through. I'm sure how easy this is going to be to see here. So if I just open that up, you see we've got the ridges of the two at the top. Let me get under my camera properly. There we go. We're going to put the two together, and we are just going to catch the back loop of one square and the back loop of the other square. And I'm just going to whip stitch these together. So we're just going to catch the back loop of one, the back loop of the other. I'm just going to whip stitch across. I'm going to start in, if you remember, we did chain 2 in the corner. So I'm going to start in the second chain of the square. So we're going to catch this chain and we're going to catch this chain. Now there is a reason that I'm doing it like this. If you look at the finished glove, you see on the squares, let me turn this so we can get under the camera. It gives this little ridge of stitches around the squares, and I just like the finish. You don't have to finish it like this. It's not going to make any difference to the size. This is just how I've chosen to do it. You can go through both if you like, but I mean, if you're following this particular one, then this is how I've done it. So it's left this lovely little ridge, as it were, these little rows in between the squares. I've done it like this rather than, you know, there's so many different ways you can join granny squares, but I didn't want to increase the size of the glove. I just wanted the squares stitched together. So this is how I've done it anyway. If you want to follow along exactly, this is how I've done it. So I'm going to show you in real time how I've done that, okay? So you want your darning needle, and you want to place your two squares together, and we're just going to join along one side. So here's my needle. I'm going to try and just find the back of the first corner stitch, second corner stitch, sorry, and the back of the corresponding stitch. I really hope you can see that. Okay, and I'm just going to go through and just go over once more just to secure. Again, I'm going to go out, stitch over my end. So I'm just going to go put my end that way and just pull that. That should be pretty secure now. Okay, so just tuck that out of the way for a moment, and we're now, it should be easier now just to find, you know, the rest of them. So it would be this one and this one. I'm just going to whip stitch over the tail, just pull it through. Okay, there we go, and I'm just going to continue doing that along there. Okay, so it's hard to see with this tail in the way, and the angle that I'm at is so awkward. Okay, so I'm going to find the back of that stitch, the back of that stitch, and I'm just going to get my end out the way and pull in it, not too tight, not overly tight. And this is the next one. And the next one. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. You can go through both if you prefer, rather than fiddling about with you know, back loops. It's just the way I chose to do this particular design. So I'm sticking with it. It is a little bit fiddly, especially when you haven't got your glasses on. Put your glasses on. There we go. Really does help. Yeah, if you've got glasses, please wear them. Wondering why I can't see. And just make sure you get the last, you only want to go one into one of the loops on the corner. So there's the 2 chains, 1, 2, 1, 2, and we just want to go through the first one. So do this one, pull that tight, and one more to go. So that's the first chain stitch there. And I'm just going to pull my yarn through to secure it. Snip it off. I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail. Now, hopefully, you can see that we've got that little ridge of stitching, which I just think is a nice little touch. You know, it's different. So, yeah, that's how we're stitching those together. On your first glove, it doesn't really matter if you're doing colourway similar to me, you know, with 2 colours. It's not really going to matter which way you do this. Okay, so I've laid them out the same way as this one. Okay, now this is the right hand glove. So obviously for the left hand glove, you're going to want the purple one to be here. I suppose it doesn't matter. I'm just a bit autistic and it needs to match, is the truth. So yeah, I just think it would look odd if the other glove was that way, you know, to begin. I just think they should be matching. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, this is the way I'm going to do it. So I'm now going to stitch along these 3 joins here, okay, to make this into a hole. And I'm sure you really don't want to watch me doing that. It's exactly the same as the way we've just done it. We're just joining along here and we'll end up with the rectangle. And I'll show you what to do. Okay, so to add this ribbing, what we're going to do is we're going to put 1 treble stitch into each stitch along the top of our little squares. So if you remember, we've got 2 chain spaces in the corner. So we're going to put 1 stitch in the corner. We are going to put 1 stitch in each of the 3 trebles. We're not going to put any stitch here because that's actually part, although that looks like 2 chains, that's actually part of the treble cluster. So we're going to do 1 in the corner, 3 trebles, 3 trebles, and 1 in the corner. Okay, and then we're on to the next square. So again, 1 in the corner, 3 trebles, 3 trebles, and 1 in the corner. And we're just going to put 1 treble, just like we did with the grannies, 1 treble in each of those stitches that I've just pointed out there. So to start doing mine in the purple, I'm just going to find that corner chain. Okay, and I'm just going to join my yarn as I always do by pulling it through and then chaining 1 and pulling that down tight. Once you've joined, to begin this, we're going to chain 3. Okay, and then that counts as our first treble. And then we're just going to put 1 treble in each of those stitches. Okay, so we want to go over and through the next stitch, pull through 2, pull through 2, over, through the next stitch, pull through 2, pull through 2. So we've got the corner 1 and 2, and now we've got the third one, which looks like this chain space in the middle here. It's actually the 3rd treble, and pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay, so I've got 4. So we've got 3 from the trebles and the corner chain. Okay, so now we want 3 more trebles and the other corner chain. Does that make sense? So yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, another treble there, another treble there, and the last treble into that corner chain there. Okay, so altogether we should have 8. One in the corner, 2 lots of 3, and one in the corner. And we're going to do that all the way along the long side of the rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to make you watch me do that. I'll be back when I've finished this row. So when you've finished, you should have something that looks like that. And the last stitch should be going into that last chain. So we're now going to chain 3, turn your work, and now we're going to do a front post and back post treble crochet stitches. This chain 3 is going to count as the first one. Okay, and we're now going to go around the post of the next stitch. So it's just a treble like we've just been doing, but we're going to go around the post. So yarn over, and instead of going into the top of the stitch as we normally would, we're going to go around the post of that previous treble. Hope you can see that. And we're going to pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. So that's our first front post treble crochet. Okay, so now we need to go around the back because we're going to do alternate stitches. So one at the front, one at the back. So yarn around. Now instead of going around the front like we've just done, we are going to go around the back. Pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay, so we've got a start chain, one front post, one back post. So this one's going to be a front post. So we're going to go around the front of the previous treble. And we're going to go around the back of the next one. And around the front of the next one. And the back of the next one. And the front of the next one. And so on. And this will form the ribbon. So the front posts will form the mountains of the ribbon, and the back posts will form the valleys of the ribbon. So you'll get this lovely ribbed effect. But I'm going to carry on along the row, and we'll join you back at the end of the next row. Okay, so we're at the end of the second row. Should look something like this. And basically we're going to continue on doing front post and back post treble crochets to form the ribbon for the wrist of this hand warmer. You can make this as long or as narrow as you wish. If you want, you can make it as narrow as the top ribbon, or you can make it, you know, elbow length if you want. There's nothing to stop you doing that. But I think I did, let me see, 1, 2, 3, possibly 5 rows. I will let you know for sure, but I think it was 5 rows I did of this ribbon. And when we get to the end of this row, we're going to chain 3. We're going to turn the work, and we're just going to continue doing front and back post treble crochets. And what's going to happen basically is where you see a front post, you're going to go around the front, and where you see the back post, you're going to go around the back. So the front posts, it'll be pretty obvious. The front posts will stand out, so you'll know that's a front post. And just continue, chain 3 at the end, turn your work, and carry on doing it until you've got the ribbon as long as you need it, or as long as you want it. I will carry on, and then I will come back and I will show you how we're going to join and do the ribbon for the top, and or how we're going to do the gap for the thumb hole. So yeah, I'll carry on with this and I'll come back and join you and show you how to do that. Okay, so I've just finished that last row, and it was in fact 5 rows. I thought it was. I'll just snip that. So this is what we've got now. We've got the ribbon, we've got the main part of the glove. So all that's left to do now is the thumb hole and the ribbing at the top and the joining, and I'll show you how to do that now. Okay, so all that's left to do is to make the thumb hole and finish the ribbing at the top. So to do this, we're going to seam this side seam. In order to find out where your thumb needs to go, so if you look at this one, you can see that the thumb hole is actually the last quarter of this square. Okay, so let me show you by putting my hand in. So we are on the last portion of that square there. So what we're going to do is, this will be the front side of my glove and this will be the back side of my glove. So I'm going to turn that over and I'm going to place my thumb in and show you where my thumb is. Can you see? So we're going to be seaming and leaving that gap on the top quarter of this square. Okay, let me just show you. So right sides together, and we are going to seam. I'm just going to whip stitch all the way through here, all the way up there, and the first half of that square to about there. So we'll do that now. So we'll just join the yarn, and I will just do a stitch to secure the end of that one, and I'll stitch over the tail. So we're going to just whip stitch the side of this ribbon. So that's the rib section stitched. And now I'm going to continue whip stitching that first quarter of this mini square. So we'll just carry on going up. Okay, until you get to that middle section just there. And I'm just going to secure that before I test it. So not there. I'm going to try, I recommend you do this, just try it on. Make sure that your ribbon is, I know it's still inside out, make sure your ribbon is where you want it, and just check that your thumb is in the right place. You're happy with where that is. Okay, so now what we're going to do, if we look at the original one, we're just going to continue the whip stitching from the bottom of this last square right up the top, and we're going to secure it off. So I'm actually going to stop there, line this up, And I'm going to continue stitching on the bottom of that last mini square. So, and you just carry on stitching up the side until we get to the chain section on the last square, and make sure you've got both corners of that last square lined up, and then secure with a couple of get rid of that. Okay, so trying it on again. Now it's still inside out, but you can see that the thumb hole is where you need it. Okay, so if you've got any ends to snip off, snip them off, only if you've gone over them, otherwise weave the ends in. And I'm going to turn this back in the right way and show you. And all that's left to do now is 2 rows of front post, back post, treble crochet as we did at the bottom. I wouldn't recommend it any more than 2 really, because it'll be too long on the fingers. You could do 1, you'd probably get away with 1. I like this because it's, you know, it's got a bit of stretch to it. And this here on the thumb, we are just going to go around the opening of the thumb with just 1 row of treble crochet, and then we're done. Now to do this top ribbon here, we're going to be working in the round. It's just as easy as doing as we did before. It's exactly the same as the bottom one. And we need to find the corner, and I am going to find the inside corner, which is over here. I'm going to begin mine here in this corner stitch, but I mean, it doesn't really matter as long as you join. But I'm going to start mine there. So I am going to join in this corner of this mini square. Just catch my yarn and put it through, and then as always I'm just going to chain 1, and I'm going to pull the tail, and then I'm just going to stitch over the tail. So we'll ignore that chain. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to just carry on putting 1 treble crochet in every stitch, just as we did on the base. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3 to go there. So around 1, 2, 3. Just carry on, and I'll meet you back at the start. Okay, so we're back to the start, and we're just gonna join to the top of the initial 3 chain that we did with a slip. Okay, and chain 3. Yeah, so we've joined them round and we've chained 3. And now what we're going to do is exactly the same as we did at the bottom. We're going to do 1 front post treble crochet, 1 back post treble crochet, 1 front post, 1 back post, all the way around, just 1 more row, and I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, I'm back to the start. We are going to join with a slip stitch to the top of our beginning chain, the chain 3 that we did at the beginning. And I'm just going to pull that through. This is one tail I will not get away with not having to weave in. We'll do that in a minute. And there we go. So all that's left to do now is to make the thumb hole, which is already made for us. We're just finishing it off really. Okay, so there we go. Now all this is here is one row of treble crochet around the opening of the hole that we left. Now it can be a little bit fiddly. It's probably the fiddliest bit of the whole thing, but it's really not difficult. So let me just show you how I do it. Get my yarn. And I am right side out, okay, as we should be now. And I'm going to join this in the lower part of this thumb section. So just find a stitch. I mean, this, you don't have to be counting stitches or anything with this, okay. Pull through, and I'm just going to chain one and pull my tail. And to begin, we're going to chain 3, and we are just going to work whatever stitches we've got in this hole here. We are going to work. So I've begun here, is the 3rd stitch of the cluster. So we've got 1, 2, 3 stitches there, and then we've got that 1 chain. Okay, so if you just remember that and just go around looking at the stitches below, you will have no problem doing this. So I'm going to put 1 treble here, and I'm just going to go round as we did with all the other parts and place a treble stitch in each of these stitches. It's just to finish. I mean, you don't even have to do this. You could just leave the thumb open, but I just thought it was a nice finishing touch. And we're going to get to the top. We're going to try and place 1 in this corner here. And then we've got this seam side that we did. So we'll just skip that, and then we're going to place 1 into the next corner of the back side, as it were. And then coming around this side, we've got the 1, 2, 3 and the corner chain. So I'm going to place 1 into the corner chain. Be careful that you don't go into your whip stitch row thinking that that's the chain stitch. Very easy to do. So I'm going to put 1 there, and then I'm going to put 3 in there. That's 2. 3, and then we're back down almost to the bottom. Just have a look. I think I can probably fit 1 more just in the bottom here. And yeah, then when you get to the bottom, you just join with a slip stitch into your start chain again. So just pull it through. And again, this is one that you're going to have to weave in. It wasn't bad though, was it? Pull that through and secure that. And as you can see, we have got a lovely little thumb hole. There we go. Fab. So I'm just going to weave my ends in, and I'll be back. And there we go. All done. Anything left to do, especially in this cold weather. And it is very chilly here in Wales today. Is to put them on. And there you go. Wonderful, funky bag lady hand warmers. Really enjoyed that. I hope you did too. I hope you come back and join me for some more tutorials. I'm going to do plenty more. So there we go. Bag Lady hand warmers. Let me know if you had a go. Please leave me a comment. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. And I promise I will try so hard to make more tutorials. See you soon. Bye.